Here's our quick little recap of where we were. So welcome back to part 3, Battle. I'm already working on my Russian. The Battle of Vitebsk I'm hoping is how it's supposed to be. We got some phonetically spelled out pronunciation for us from David, so hopefully we're still good on that. So where we left off is the French. There's the back part of their second division, I guess, if you want to call it that, of infantry that were coming up. They had started to deploy them, so they're partially deployed. And here is their first division charging up the hill against one of the Russian divisions, trying to hold back the tide. And they're fully deployed, and we're fighting it out. And then we have back here the second and third Russian divisions that are trying to hold back the French. French were trying to get some troops off the board, or at least destroy. I think their focus was to destroy a couple. Well, yeah, I don't remember. It doesn't matter at this point. We're just fighting. We're fighting for glory at this point. But just one thing that we were going to share. It comes back to this rule that seems to be talked about. I overemphasize how often it's discussed. We've seen it discussed once with a few back and forth points, but it was skirmishing against cavalry. So in our last game, in here was a big climatic cavalry battle. I had some cavalry that come down off the hill. They swung around, and they were engaged by some French skirmishing. And there was a rule where, like, all skirmishing points. Well, now I forgot exactly, but like we didn't need to apply as much skirmishing points against the cavalry as we did, because the rule says, like, if the cavalry is attacking, well, we had it printed out. Well, I already forgot. We talked about it a little bit, but essentially, one of the interpretations is if your cavalry was, say, attacking the infantry, then the infantry are pulling back the skirmishers because they're being run down by horses. So therefore, the skirmishing points don't count, but you could, like, get your 2 dice 6 roll. But there was a discussion that came out on Facebook with several answers, and one of the answers was, like, the intent was, if the skirmishers are within the 45-degree arc of the horse, the horses might not go and attack those skirmishers, but the fact that the infantry was in that 45-degree cone, you could argue that the skirmishers were still pulling back and not engaging because they didn't know, or they thought, or some of the horses came their way, so they're just protecting themselves. I think the situation that we had, and the reason why we played it the way we did, was my cavalry were not engaging the infantry, and I don't think the infantry were within a 45-degree arc. They may have been, like, a couple stands might have been within a 45-degree arc of the cavalry that were attacking the other cavalry, but because the infantry specifically were not the target of the cavalry, I think that's why we went with the skirmishers were doing their thing, and they were shooting at the horses as they were, flying by. So again, you might argue, this is something that we hadn't discussed, but one might argue, I don't know how accurate of shooting against a very fast-moving horse with the musketry of the time they had. So, I'm not really sure where the intent of that rule is, but we were thinking that because a cavalry was not attacking the infantry, therefore the infantry were not under that restriction of limitations on their skirmish points, because they were not the target, so they were probably in their positions, taking aim and firing as they could, kind of flank shots as the cavalry rode by. So, that might be one left open for debate still on how that rule should be applied, but we house ruled it in the, in the excitement of the match, and that's probably how we'll continue to do it. As long as something is not within the 45-degree arc of the charging cavalry, then they're probably just fine to shoot at their full effectiveness because they're not the target of the charge. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Did you have anything to add?
Well, the only other point along that topic where you talked about cavalry flying by,
yeah,
like in the period, the charge was the very last thing that they would have done. They, in theory, at the scale of this game, didn't charge a whole mile across that ground.
Mind
they
you,
walked they went to a trot, and at the very last 100 or so paces, whatever it would be, then they blew the charge and went in. Because otherwise you're going to get to the point of contact with very tired horses.
These were Russian horses, Tom. It makes
They
a
were
difference.
good.
They were
good
good.
to go.
They took it. They
So,
took it.
I guess a good representation is if you go back to the old 1930s movie, The Charge of the Light Brigade with Errol Flynn, and perhaps they had the horses at a gallop longer than they would be. But if you watch how that progressed, it progressed at brigade trotted, or walked, then trotted, and then finally charged. So there was a progression of speeds. It wasn't full out charge all the way through.
Well, I mean, then we could also look at the distance, like how many yards was there gapped? There was probably a pretty fair distance. They might not be very accurate at that range either, though.
The other thing you would have to take into consideration is, our skirmishers, when did they fire? Because if they're firing at the point of contact, and if I'm a French skirmisher or a Russian skirmisher on the other side, whatever, I may not want to take this shot because I don't know who I'm going to hit. But hey, any dead cavalryman's a good cavalryman as far as an infantry guy's concerned.
That's right. So we'll probably leave that discussion at that point. However, feel free to comment away in the comments. We love to hear what you got, What are you thinking on the issue? But we'll leave it at that. So we're going to go ahead and get set up and start playing, and we'll be back in a little bit. So I moved the camera over here. So this will be the last thing that we were discussing prior to the start. And we had discussed the topic of forming a grand battery last game. And of course, in true fashion, the way I am, I forgot all about it. So 2 weeks ago, I didn't read up on it at all. Tom read up on it, so he's got an idea how to do it. But the biggest consideration isn't so much the mechanics on how to do the grand battery. It was, is it a good idea now? With the French coming over the hill, I might not have time to move those batteries into a position where I would want a grand battery. So I guess maybe this is where Tom can eavesdrop on my thought process. We talked about it a little bit. I think it's too late to go form a grand battery. Having never done it before, I don't know how long it would take for everything to move. The fact that I've got, like this guy right here, he's committed but not deployed. He could start moving towards where I want a grand battery. All the other guns I've already committed, and they're ready to shoot stuff as they come down over the hill. I would have to uncommit them and then make rolls to see if they want to join the grand battery, and then start moving them towards where we want the grand battery. That could take a couple of turns that I might not have. So like I told Tom, I think it's too late to form the grand battery. That probably is something I should have done. But again, as always, we've got a lot of armchair generals that watch this with us, and maybe you could share some insight. What do you think? Grand battery? I'm not doing it now, but you could let me know, yeah, you totally could have deployed the grand battery from this point. Plenty of time. The French aren't coming over the hill that fast because they can't quite get totally behind that. Who knows? Share your thoughts on that. But I'm going to skip the grand battery. But next game, if I've got lots of artillery and somebody with a grand battery, let's talk about it at that point. But I think for now, grand battery is out of the question. But feel free to leave your thoughts if that was a good idea, bad idea, and maybe should have. Of course, it's easy to say, well, yeah, you should have deployed it earlier. But I'm talking from this point forward. What do you all think? Because here they are. They're not that far away. And you figure with a movement of like 15 inches of deployed off-road, I think it's 15 inches, they're going to get to the lines probably a lot quicker than what I can move the batteries. So yeah, I think we're stuck where we are now. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. We're about to go into turn 1.
So we got turn 10, 1300. And that would have been our first roll to see if Napoleon decides he didn't like how it was shaping up. We made that roll, and Napoleon has not, at this point, either showed up to see how things are unfolding, And so Marat is still out there being himself and pressing the attack. And we go to activate any orders.
I have no
I
orders.
don't believe I had any
None for
to
me.
activate from last week.
Oh, I do have an issue order though.
Well, issue order would come up next.
And that's what I'm looking at. Let me make sure I get the right guy. Because we did talk about this last time. And that's Kona Vincent. I'm going to have to give them nicknames. This is Bob.
But Bob's just the division commander. He's not going to issue, but you can issue something to his
but I got to
formation.
issue to him. I just got to make sure I was issuing to the right person. So Bob is going to have an order issued to him, and we'll roll for it at some point. So,
Bob Konavitson.
Bob Konavitson. All right, I'm going to issue him something.
A bug out order?
Well, I wouldn't call it a bug out order necessarily. We call them strategical moves in the opposite direction.
Okay. Now we have leader actions.
I currently have no leader actions that I'm aware of.
I really am not happy about how things are like going down with the die rolls with those Russians up on the hill.
Is that really where he was, or did he slide?
No, he won his.
Oh, that's right.
I think he won his
I think he
last
did.
combat and moved forward.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that positioning. Okay.
And then he got into a second combat and got a hold position because I think that's why he's right up there.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not happy with that at all.
Okay, well, let's see. When last I left, dang it, if you didn't come down off the hill again, so I've got to I don't want to recall it to the reserve. I want to just, I think they call it displace to get it to limber up again so I can get it to move.
Should be no problem at all.
It was good old Nan Sudi, who was a B-level leader, telling Saint Germain, who's a B-level leader, to, hey, get that dang thing. And I think Nan Sudi actually, if I remember, never left personal command because he took personal command to get some inspire kind of things a couple turns ago.
Well,
and I don't think he broke it yet.
And even if he broke it, it's free to attach. So there he is.
I've got a B telling himself a B to get that gun limbered up. So that's plus 2, 4, 6. However, I think I have some
fatigue.
Still have a fatigue on them because they've been sitting here for a while.
Oh, you know what?
They've been melting a little bit off.
Oh, you know what? I do have a leader action. After you do yours. I just thought of one.
So that goes down to a plus 5. Nobody's, I think, within a foot of the enemy.
No, I don't. Not him. Well, no. You're good.
And here's the downside. Now that I'm thinking of it, to soak off that last fatigue, they won't move. So if I wind up like limbering them up and then moving them, I don't think I won't soak off the fatigue. So even if I limber them up, I think at this turn, I can't move them if I want to take the fatigue off.
I don't think it says a limitation on that.
It says you have to stay, I think,
in defense.
You have to be on defend and not move. Fatigue recovery, page 28. More than 900 yards from the enemy. No assessment performed during the artillery combat phase of the previous turn. Recover 1 fatigue of players' shoes. Oh, I guess it doesn't say anything about it.
As long as you're just doing within yourself.
It's just within 900 yards.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Good. I don't think he can fail.
No.
No point in moving. So he limbers up. So that's great. I think the guns over there went into the Reformation area last turn and would have to be rallied to come
I think so.
back.
Yeah.
Here's the tricky part. So if I have Eugene jump in and take personal command, he is a B, and his unit leader's a B. He would be giving the order to get them rallied out of the Reformation area to himself. So B, B, and B again, but I'm within 12 inches of the enemy, for sure. I mean, there's units in there, right up there against
Yep.
your enemy.
Yep.
So that's minus, oh no, they're within 6 inches.
They're
So
very
it's
close.
minus 3. So plus 6, minus 3, so he's still
you're
a plus 3.
That's still good.
But 1, 2, 3, 4 fatigue on him. That brings that plus 3 down to a -1. That means I'm having to roll 8s or better to make it happen.
Which is still very possible.
It is, but
Do you have something you want to do first? That might be easier with him.
there's really nothing, I think, other than that they would need to do. Here's the question. He's in there personal commanding, right? Let's say I don't know what you have him on. I defend or something. Whatever his thing was, so I don't know.
Yeah, they were originally a defend, but they fell back
because of
of
the
the
action.
combat result. But he's in a bad spot, and it's like, well, I can't. I mean, unless you want to say he's on defend and I just shift him back, but I don't think that's in the true spirit because the defend is up here, and that's his reformation area is back here. So my thought was if I can just retreat him voluntarily, so people can see, just retreat this guy back so he's out of the way, and then he gets 1 die 6 fatigue, but it's only on him. And if I roll low and he's still, if I can have someone put him on defend at some point, he might be able to shake that off. So that's what we'll do. We're back here at movement. All right, yeah, I have no order conversions. Yeah, no order conversions for me.
Then we have movement.
I have movement, guys. It's not Coven. Is that
It's
Coven?
Covenants.
Oh, yeah, he's a B. All right, well, that's good. He needs it. All right, so he's a B, so that's +2. Grand tactically outflanked, which I don't like. So it's -1 already. Per 10 points, so I guess that's another -3, so I'm at -4. Then fatigue, I had 2 fatigue. I'm at -5. Or what did I say? -4, and then -2,
-6.
so -6 now. And
But
then
you're stoic, right?
we are stoic, but there's no deployed batteries near me. Okay, so I'm at -4. Wait, no, -6, so -5.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't see anything else going on.
Okay, so -5. Okay. They can't see the dice roll. We need a dice roll cam. But I rolled a 9, so it's a 4. Oh no, that's on the 0 to 4. I barely missed out. Okay, so irregulars and impetuous I do not have. Irregulars evade, impetuous may attack. Okay, cavalry may evade. Artillery retires. I got no artillery up there, but I do gain 2 fatigue. So that sucks. Because that will be terrible leading into the skirmish. So 2 fatigue on him.
No, I think you'll be out.
It's a -1 in the when we get to.
All right, so you gave me a 1. So I'm a B up there, so +2. And you gave me a 1, so I'm down to +1. And I have 4 fatigue on me, so that's -4 +1. So I'm now -3. No artillery batteries either. And I think that's where it stands.
Yeah. Okay. Well, something. Well,
6-3. I think I'm going to get the same result you
I
did.
think so. 2 fatigue, essentially.
And my artillery's already back, so that doesn't make a difference. And I'm gaining 2 fatigue.
Well, we're still holding. That means we got a little bit of a penalty each. Okay.
That's the end of that story.
So if that's the end of skirmish, we did leader fate, we did assessments, then we could check for order conversion at the top of combat. Did you have any order conversions you would like to do?
It's the space, and he has to be at least 3 inches away from the guy who attacked him. Then he could be over here.
Just be like right on. So this is one of those gray areas we're discussing.
But if you pull him further back to say, well, hey, now I kind of made it so you're no longer in my reformation area because I pulled them all the way back here. And
heck yeah.
now all the way,
So this is the gray area we're discussing is on this fallback. Okay, so let me see if it's on the camera. I think so. So we had this gentleman that was right up here. He lost a battle with one of these adjacent French that were there.
This one that was here.
He fell back. So I fell back. Now, if you go straight back, I would rout because I landed on the enemy. But the rules say you just fall back away from the enemy. So we kind of came at a kitty corner, but the rules don't say that it has to be exactly 225 yards. This is a discussion we had once before, is how far back can you go? Now, the idea was I could theoretically, if I wanted, go back as far as I want, I think. But do you necessarily want to do that? Because Tom said, well, you can just have everybody simply fall back at some point to form a new line. I would agree, you could. But again, if I have these guys fall back far enough, they're no longer supporting the front line. It's like I fell back far enough that I can't support him anymore. So if he loses a battle, he's going to be unsupported and probably go back to reformation versus just retire. But I didn't want to land on him. So really it's like, is it only 225 that you can go back, or can you go back as far as you want with a minimum of 225 yards between you and the enemy? Now, because to the point, I went ahead and moved this guy a little bit further back so that he's no longer in the reformation area. So is that gaming? Because see, to Tom's point, if it was strictly the 225, because the rules don't say it has to be only, it just says you want to put 225 yards between you and the enemy. So I'd actually be up on this guy's backside, and then he has a corner of his troops past me. So would that now be grand tactically outflanked? But if there's no limitation on how far back I can go, I'm no longer grand tactically outflanked. So this is one of them gray, we call it the gray because the rule doesn't say only. So at what part are we, am I gaming to my advantage, or is Tom gaming, you know, like what should we do? So we want to roll off?
Let's just play it as you want to play it. I'm good with that.
That's generous. So if anybody has insight onto that, please go ahead and share some comments. So Tom has been gracious enough to let me fall back further, so I'm no longer tactically outflanked. But any comment on that would be fantastic if anybody else has opinion. Otherwise, that is the end of skirmish, and we would be on to assessments.
Yep.
Okay.
And what did we get out of that?
Well, I did get 3 losses.
I got 2. But you're stoic again, so that's going to balance out anyway.
It helps a little bit. Okay, so we'll try. So my leadership rating is B, so I'm +2. I'm no longer grand tactically outflanked, so I did have 3 combat losses, so I'm -2. So I'm currently at a +0. I do have 5 fatigue, so I am -5. There are no enemy batteries or friendly batteries deployed, but we are stoic because we are defending. So I'm at a -4 is where I'm taking it.
Yep, I would think that's about right.
I'm at a 2, so that's horrible.
No, it's still positive. It's only
it's
only 2 more fatigue.
Yeah, it's not 1. Okay, well, 2 fatigue. All right, well, still, they're tired now. Okay, so I'm at a grand total of grand total of 7 fatigue at this point.
Okay, so here I am. I'm a B, +2. No grand tactically outflanked. I didn't get 3 combat losses, but now I've got 6 fatigue. So +2 -6 is -4. No batteries, no stoic, no enthusiastic, nothing.
All right.
So I'm -4.
Let's see them good dice rolls.
So I think that's exactly what.
That's what I had. Yeah. Oof. Well, put you
So
at
I'm 1. I think that winds up being in the same area you are.
so.
2 more fatigue.
It's 0 to 1.
It's still positive.
Yep. Because that's on those. Yep. Still positive. So 2 fatigue.
So now I'm sitting with 9 fatigue.
Which is great because that will affect your skirmishing. Oh, but there was a limit on how many. Oh yeah, you can't go
Just
below 0.
below
Can't.
0,
So you're still positive because
Uh-huh.
your 45 minus 27 is still a positive number because the 9 would be. Well, wait, it's 3 -3 for each fatigue point. Oh, it's -4 for each fatigue point. So you would be.
It's -4
that's
for
artillery.
artillery. It's -3 for
Okay, so I was
infantry.
right. So if you got 9
Yeah.
fatigue, then yeah, you'd be just.
9 times 3,
Yeah,
27.
27. So 45 minus 27. Well, anyway, either way. Do you have any order conversions on the back side of all that?
I don't know. From that far side, 24 is right here. If they convert to an attack, I could likely get in there and in there, but that's
Is that including the movement penalties for going through?
I wouldn't go 24. Gets them back
It's
here.
not a straight line.
So I'd come
Gotta
through.
shoot a straight line.
I'd come through
But that's not straight.
that way. I didn't say straight. I just said within the 45 degree. Right?
Yeah, but ain't it like a straight line shot?
I don't know if it says straight
I thought we
line.
were doing no curves on the.
Oh, I mean no, but I'm putting them in where they can get in. there's
It's
no,
fine.
I don't think I could go straight
No,
through there. I mean, I guess I might be able to get a guy in there somewhere. I don't know. I don't know.
it's
if I wanna
fine. I think that's one of those other things where people discuss, how much curve can you get and yada yada.
do it. Yeah.
Are they
I
straight
got it.
line shots? Because it's not getting there on a straight line. Do they get to curve partway through their trot and whatnot? I would say whatever.
I'm not saying that I'm going to do it anyway.
If you do,
I'm just measuring it out, see if they
I'm
were
totally
within.
fine if people have to bend. I mean, they're horses. They're maneuverable.
It says within one full move, front 45. Yeah, I got it. I mean, I know. I guess the only reason why I'm doing it that way is because that's the only way they can, maybe get one guy in. Even if I straight lined it, still that'd be the only way to get kind of one attack in. And if he wins it,
He still gets fatigue. Depends on how he rolls. Because he can still win and get fatigue, I think. If he wins by 3. Yep, cavalry still gets fatigue.
well, who's in command? Nansuti's in command, and he's got a tactical rating of +2.
And I think those are
The
they have
guy
shock.
on the end is Cuirassier, so he
Yeah.
starts at 7 and's got a shock of 1, so it'd be a +10 against your
7.
2, and then whatever. Oh, but then he's fighting cavalry, so every fatigue is different.
Yeah, fatigue infantry versus okay, so it's every 2, so it'd be a bigger penalty. Then I'd have a penalty. And did you wear off all their fatigue yet? They did. Yeah, so it'd be tough. Well, that's if I stick around because you don't get to attack yet until much later. But you can move them in.
No, it'd be an immediate attack.
Didn't we try that? And then I had to wait till the attack phase. I couldn't actually attack at that point. You made me go through.
I think it was up at this order conversion right up.
Was it on the
depending-
movement order
it
conversion?
It actually depends on when it's done.
Well, but your order conversion after combat.
Yep. And so I don't think there's any weight. I think if it comes into infantry, there was a weight. But again, do I want to do that? See, I really want to just win one more combat because I'd put another assessment if I.
I pause there for a moment. We're going to pick up here at the end then of the combat to end that turn. So this would also be the time I roll for Napoleon's arrival.
Yep.
All right, and we're looking for an 8. Now that I've seen my poor battered Russians on the front there, I'm thinking this would be a good time for Napoleon to show up. And guess who shows up?
Oh, son of a.
I rolled 12. Okay. We said Napoleon arrives, but how exactly does that play? Is that it? We just draw?
He calls the attack off.
Did you bring your Napoleon? You didn't get your Napoleon.
I didn't get to. Yeah,
He's
I don't
gonna-
know. Where is he?
he's gonna find his
underneath
Napoleon
here
figure to make it
somewhere. It's probably
official.
Napoleon's there, but we're going to play out the 1320 turn as those orders go out and things are in progress. So
Yeah, this ended a lot sooner than I think either of us thought it would end. But mostly, one thing we discussed, since this will be the last turn, we'll just talk about one thing we discussed was Tom bringing his cavalry in. And the reason he at first thought about it, is he wanted to force one more fight because this division is 1 fatigue point away from retreating. So I've got 7 fatigue, there's 8 units on the board. So they did hold to the end of this particular thing, and now the French are pulling back. But just for the sake of curiosity, we're going to play through one more turn just to see what happens to that division, and then then we'll call it there. And then maybe he'll find his Napoleon figure. I'm wanting him to bring Napoleon onto the board and personally tell his men to fall back. Okay, so this would be the top of the command. I do have orders to activate. Did you? I don't think you issued.
I have any issue. I'm not issuing any, and therefore I don't have anything to activate either.
Okay, so I do have activate. Now, this might not happen because they just took all that fatigue. I was going to convert them to a support and see if I could start moving them off to the side to support one of their buddies. But now with the 7 fatigue, I think they're kind of stuck.
Maybe
But
so.
we'll find
Who
out.
are they going to support?
They were going to support that division over there.
Oh, okay.
They were gonna go.
So they can get up on that.
Yeah,
if they did it,
if they
would
did.
go start moving back toward that ridge.
Exactly. They would start going to the fallback area. So that was my goal, was to convert them. But now that they got 7 fatigue and the enemy is like right there, pretty slim that would happen, even if I attach my leader. But I'm going to precariously set this down. Well, that's not precariously. Okay. But to make that happen, I think I'm going to have to take personal command with... it's not going to help much, but it does give them 1 point. Because he's a C. So that's Chkov, this guy here. That guy. So he's going to just attach, not to the French, but he will attach himself. So that's a C. Telling him, who's a B, so that's +3. Plus, he did take personal command, so that's +4. It might not make, that 1 point might not make a difference, because now I've got to add in,
He's +4.
starts at +4. But then, where was it? Every point of fatigue, isn't that, yeah, per fatigue. So if I'm +4, and I now have 7, so I'm -3 right now. But there's no, but I am within 6 inches of the enemy, so I'm at -6.
There's no way
And no-
to success.
Even if I roll 12. But
It would be a 6.
because I'm issuing the order, I am going to get a delay. So he might not succeed, but there's a chance I'll get a delay. And it will happen several turns later.
You're trying to activate, you're trying to just activate the order.
Yeah, it's just an order activation. So yes,
So since that, you
it
can
might
get a
fail,
delay.
but it'll just be a delay.
It's going to fail, but...
It might come
By
a
how
turn
much?
later. Right, I'll have to then just see...
Well, first of all, we know it's going to fail. So there's no reason to roll 2d6.
so I'll just roll
All you have
one
to do
die.
is roll 1d6 and divide it by 2, apparently.
So if I roll a 1, so he might not pull out, but at least he'll be on his way thinking about it.
It'll be a 1-turn delay.
It'll be a 2-turn delay. It would be a 2-turn delay. But so he's not getting out of here. That was the big thing, was he gonna pull out right now? Because I could start moving him in the move section. And they said no. The order, the little page boy on his horse is having a hard time getting up there with the orders.
Yeah, you didn't even have to attach that guy and do anything with that, because
Because it was gonna fail.
activate orders comes before leader actions, and leader actions.
Oh, that's true. You can't even attach
so
at
there
that
would be no
point.
reason to do that.
Yeah, so it would just be
he
a
would have
fail.
He would have failed, and you would have rolled your d6. and
Okay, well
it's
then
delayed.
let's check the artillery, because it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to put down here, so what turn are we, this is turn 11?
This is turn 11, yeah?
So I'm going to put I would put a 13. If we were playing it out, I'm just going to put a 13, so I know that would actually activate on
13
turn
they would
13,
do
if they survive.
If they were still there.
If they're still there. The artillery, same thing. I was going to put them on a support so we could start moving out of the way so I could start shooting artillery. It's a little bit different. Is that 6, or is he just outside of 6 inches? He is just outside 6 inches, so he's on the 12-inch penalty, which I think was -1. But it's a C telling a C, so that's only +2.
Well, his guy is over there somewhere, so whatever he is, he technically.
I
is
thought
still
this
on the
was the
board.
guy.
Yeah, but his corps leader is right there. His upper echelon guy
Did I
is
move him
still
over there?
is still him. I think Phelan is still his guy.
Phelan is still the guy. I think I just moved him because all his cavalry went. But yeah, you're right. So Phelan is a B. Well, he can attach. He's got no reason not to.
Yeah, you got nothing else going on.
All right.
I
So
mean,
that's
he was
a
hanging out
4.
there with this cavalry.
So that's a 5. Because he's telling himself to get up and move in. So that's a 5.
And he's telling that C guy, so yeah.
And he's got 2 fatigue, so that's now a +3.
And
I'm within 6, so it's a +2.
within 12, not 6.
Yeah, within 12, so +2.
Sorry.
So there's a chance I could succeed. Otherwise, I'll have to roll. Now, see how
But
delayed he is.
are you just activating orders?
Yeah.
Because all that attached stuff doesn't even make a difference. Because again,
Just
you're just trying to activate an order that was given before.
Well, then if it's a straight roll of 7,
So
I guess he makes it. So he's now on a.
whatever you.
So the cavalry can.
He activated to
Okay.
whatever that.
He activated to a support too to get out of the way. We debated on the retreat and what the effects of a retreat would be on that one singular artillery guy, because you can voluntarily retreat, add fatigue, and then we'd have to sit down and spend time figuring out how to get the fatigue off and blah. So I said, you know what? He's still mobile. I'll just put him on support. So now in the movement, he's just going to
Get him out of the
move off to the side. And then he can deploy and be, well, I'd still have to roll to, because he's in the reserve. He's not
Yeah, he's in the reserve.
committed, so I'd have to roll to commit after he gets to where I want. But anyway, I can get him out of the way is the point. I'm done with my leaders.
All right, so there's the leader actions. I probably have some.
Okay. What would you like to do, good sir?
All right. So first of all, Eugene wants to get the heck out of this melee that's happening up around this ridge.
He's done.
Because Marat's chopping at the bit to jump in there. Let me do it. Let me do it.
Get in there. Now, just to pause people there for a second, we were talking about who would be in command if you were trying to attach multiple leaders. And so our ultimate decision was we're going to have just one personally attached. So he's going to unattach Eugene so he can attach the other guy. Because we didn't see anything that said you couldn't have multiple leaders attached, and then you could maybe pick which bonus you want to use from which leader, but that felt kind of gamey. So we ultimately went on the side of what would make sense. You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen, so he's going to pull Eugene and then attach Marat.
And I don't know if he could do it either.
But we're going to roll.
There's a lot of fatigue now.
A lot of fatigue.
Now he's got 9 fatigue on him. So I mean that's a -9 right there. And he is 6 inches, so he's -12.
Mm-hmm.
He can't pass.
There's
no way he cannot detach himself from this fight.
He is stuck.
He's a B telling himself, and another B that I'm getting out of here.
So at least 6.
Those are all +6s.
Right.
And there's no way I can get to 7 with -12. No way at all.
All right.
There's
Well,
no way he can get out of that
so he's stuck.
fight.
So he can't plug and play his leaders this time. Okay.
All right, so another leader action. He is already in personal command.
Okay.
That cavalry unit has taken all its fatigue off.
They have rested the horses.
The battery's already committed. It's just ready to move. And so he is going to, let's see, what's the objective? He's going to change his objective. Write it down. So he changes his objective. And he's giving them a different force directive.
Okay.
That goes away, and since he's sitting right there, that's not gonna fail either, because he's a B, taking in personal command, telling a B way more than 12 inches away from any enemy, no fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so he's got that, and then it comes down to a move, or order conversion. I got no order conversion. Comes down to a move.
Okay.
All right, so I'm still on an attack up here.
Right. Well,
Theoretically,
yeah.
I guess you can do some reconsolidations along this.
There's not much I can
line.
do if I just show the good people at home where we're at. I can't go too far back as far as reconsolidation on a defend, because it is... Wait a minute. I thought I had... Ha!
I mean,
I have changed the force objective, my good friend. I did that a couple turns ago.
but I don't think you could activate your order because
But
you're failing.
But since I did change the force objective, where's my pointer?
I don't
The
know.
force objective has been changed
But
to
wouldn't you roll for
the
that?
second ridge. That we did that a while ago. That's what I'm
You
saying.
did?
I already changed that a couple turns ago. I just had no reason to move. But these gentlemen, if I go back to the camera, they're on defend. So if I want to be gamey, if the force objective is now this second ridge, and they're on a defend, I can move to be in defense of the new objective and pull them out because their support didn't kick in. Yes! That's where I do a big ol' I just saved them. I didn't even realize it.
Well, I guess you would have rolled to change their objective. Then why didn't they move their last turn? On to the point where I come into contact again. I'll get to the part of the reverse slope. I'll blaze away with you with musketry, I guess. I don't know, and then we're there.
But you can't force the status check unless you do close combat.
Yeah, that is true.
So if you,
so it would be pointless even to.
So you would have to bring him in contact. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, never mind, Tom. Yes, you're fine. Don't bring him in contact. Just get him close enough and do some skirmish firing.
I can't get behind you because I'm. This is my area. I can't bring any more behind because that's exceeding what I told them to do.
And this is why we said I shouldn't be talking out loud my thoughts, because now he just changed to where he can now come in and force the assessment that he wanted to do. But if I hadn't said anything, he wouldn't have done it. So there it is.
It only takes one guy to do it. Right?
And
if you're looking at it.
So he said. So look at Tom. He's a funny man. So he said, "I'll just bring one dude."
One battalion.
One battalion, and he can just shift them guys how he wants.
Bring them up. Otherwise, they still have to fall. They still have to get onto the reverse slope. Well, there's actually one of them on it already. So perhaps that's that's kind of I got a battalion.
He's thinking that one battalion's enough to do it. It might be enough to do it. It could very well be.
But let's one battalion never likes to go in alone.
All right.
And so they go there. And they want to be supported because they don't want that roll if something goes south.
Right.
That you're not supported.
This might be the day that I roll really well.
They've been doing pretty good.
They've held. They're a lot better. Well, they're not doing as bad as I thought they would.
All right, and so he comes up and around. He just addresses adjusts facing a little bit. They come down the slope. They come down the slope. They come down the slope. Now I can hear that French music. Now it's appropriate.
Now it's appropriate.
Because now they're coming in. Now they're coming in for the attack.
And it looks epic. It's beautiful.
This battalion gets back up. Get back up.
Oh, I forgot to grab the little smoke puffs to put out there for when they're shooting.
Where's that other? But that other battalion's lost in the haze.
Okay. All right.
He's trying to get back up there with his parent battalion. He's still attached to that mess.
All right.
I just knocked a guy off his horse by leaning into him and broke his little glue bond. So we're gonna just quickly give him a
Okay, we can fix that in post.
boot.
White glue is good, everybody. It dries clear.
Yep, dries clear.
No, I saw there was one person that cringed when you did that, but I'm letting them know it's okay because that will dry clear.
It'll be okay.
Yep.
All right, and so now what we do, it's a horse gun.
Oh.
I think we get up here and we lay some fire into these guys, but not so close where you're laying any fire back.
Oh, but speaking of simultaneous movement,
So we get up here.
what do you mean? 10 is 10. It's reciprocal. If you're close enough for my artillery, I'm close enough to shoot you.
Oh, I know. I know the artillery will.
Oh, he wants to shoot the infantry and I get shot by
I've got nothing. I got no issue with the. Of course, your gun's going to be the closest thing if I do that there. So what if I do it right here?
Well, we'll see. But now I do have to move my artillery while you're figuring your stuff. Deployed foot artillery is 15 inches.
Deployed. None of this stuff can move.
This guy
that
can.
guy can go.
Oh, wait,
wherever.
this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't you have a delay order for him?
No, he's not delayed. He made it.
Whatever.
This guy's delayed by 2. This guy made it.
I don't know what he's doing.
He's moving off to the side.
You put him on support.
Right. So we're going to move him over here to support. Which he can do 15. And then I have to wait to drop him in place. But his leader comes back. Just knocking all my people over. There's your force leader who's attached. Alright. So moved him back with his support order to support them guys. And then I can't actually commit him yet because he just moved, but they're there. But I did clear the way. I don't think there's anybody that my artillery can shoot at yet. The French would have to get closer. I still have my Russian speed bump right there. So, and then he's moving. So he's moving his cavalry up finally.
Still attached.
So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, he's got artillery close enough now to... We're going to stick it out. It's the last turn, so we'll stick it out. But really, if I was going to long-term this, you know those guys would fall back behind that ridge line just to piss them off.
Who, these guys?
Yeah.
Oh, well then I'd have to shoot at him.
Oh, I know. You just hate it when I move the juicy
Yeah,
targets out.
What
but-
can I do? Maybe
What can
one
you do?
fatigue on him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not enough to do anything at the moment, so...
What
All right.
can I do?
What can you do? And
All right then.
there we are. I think we're deployed for this particular round of action. So if that's your movement,
That's the movement.
there's nothing left unless you want to redeploy the boys in the back.
There's no fatigue recovery. I'm
Nope,
not
he doesn't-
doing anything with those because I'm going to assume, hey, Napoleon's aide-de-camp got to them
First.
Said, hey, stop.
They're good.
Otherwise, all they would do is they would get up
Come up.
right about in this area and they would have reached their objective and trimmed objective.
Yep. So we're good with them. They're going to go ahead and stay put. All right.
Said, hey, wait, I don't think you can do it.
But I was going to say, do you want to put them back in their ployed? But no, he doesn't want to roll for that.
No.
So we're good with that. So yeah, fatigue recovery. Yep, nothing. They're on defend, but because they just moved there, I don't think they would recover the turn that they got to the movement that put them in defend. So I think they're just staying put.
Oh, I thought they went to support.
Well,
That you can get them out of the way.
that's true. Then the next turn I'd have to switch them to a defend, and then they might be able to do something with his force commander. But that's neither here nor there.
Okie dokie.
We're on to artillery and skirmishing. This is the one he was wanting to do for sure. We have to roll off. Well, no, this is the skirmish.
this-
There's no roll off for skirmishing.
I'm going to take a shot from here to there.
Okay.
With a big whopping battery of, that's 6-pound horse guns.
Okay.
For every 2, it's a +1. So +3, and no fatigue.
Okay.
Just there. Whoever these
Sure.
are.
That's fine.
Whatever they are.
Whatever they are.
Oh, just one.
So just one.
Because
And
that's a, wait, nope, not even. 5 and 6 +3 is only 9. Nothing.
Oh, so no. Okay. You fired.
Boom!
Okay.
Useless. Again, cavalry gunners. Horse gunners.
And that still looks glorious. Okay. Well then. But is
And then
mine...
you got this guy out here.
Yeah, I
He's
was
a
gonna
6-pounder.
And he should be.
He's got 6 guns on
And he
him.
should be well within. Now that's my... Who is that? Can you tell me?
The label says 6-pound light foot artillery, 6 guns.
6 or 6 pounders? Because all I've got are 12.
6-pounder and 6 guns. Under backy 1.
Okay, this says 12 guns.
Backy 1.
6 pounders, 12 guns.
Backy 1.
Oh, backy 1. Sorry. Okay, so it's this one here. 6
Yeah.
pound. Okay. 6 guns. That's
Back you may have.
3. Well, that's a +3 for me as well.
All right, so he's firing back.
All right, so no, it's 6 + 3 is also a 9, so not quite enough.
So much for that. Boom, boom.
Right. There's just a little puff of smoke. It's not the size of the smoke that matters, Tom. It's how you use it.
That's what she said.
Yep.
All right, now artillery and skirmish over here with this big
Yep.
attack.
And I think that's your 45 points minus your 27 for fatigue. What's the math on that?
Actually, it's another base is involved now.
Oh, okay.
Because I think somebody was not in
you're right.
range because
It's
he was
possible
back.
you
He
did.
came back and couldn't do it.
Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay.
16. All right, 45, 48.
48.
And they got 9, 15, minus 27.
Right.
So 21.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a 1 in there, carry the fraction, divide by the number of phases of the moon.
21 and a D6.
Well, 27.
That's just
28.
7.
So you did,
So
it's a
it's a
2. Okay, so that's 2. That does force an assessment. Now I'm at 16, but with my 7 fatigue. Why don't I? Oh, there they are. They're way down here. Wait, no.
Minus 21.
Yeah, now I can't find them.
They got to be up top.
Oh, I was looking at down at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, so 21. So I'm at a
So
0.
It's a D6.
So
It's your 2D.
it's my 2 die
to see if they
6.
can get
Yeah,
anything out.
2 die 6 roll. So if I roll a 10 or higher, that at least that's 1. That's the hope. Nope.
It
Came
ain't-
close though.
Came close.
Close, just not close enough. So
All right.
I have to make a leader assessment, which is fine. All right, but let's see what happens to them here. It is a B.
All right. Well, hey,
Oh, is there more?
leader assessments for my guy.
Well, I didn't roll high enough.
I think as long as they're within range and
Is it?
they're getting
I thought I had to.
I don't know. I don't think you have to put any kind of assessment on them.
Oh, go for it then.
All right. So Eugene,
He's fine.
he's a 4, and whoever
guy.
that guy is up there with him, he's a
He's
7.
fine.
He
Okay.
is a-
I really thought you had to force the assessment.
All right. So nothing here.
But,
and then,
okay.
All right.
Well, we're good. All right. So then. Oh, well, I guess it just simply says roll die 6 for commanders within 12 inches of artillery or 6 inches. It doesn't say. It just.
It doesn't say
okay.
that had to do an assessment.
So that's just because bullets are flying and shrapnel.
Yep,
All right, got
He's
it.
going up there.
Okay, so for my assessment, I'm a B, so I'm +2. I'm now outflanked.
Nope.
There was a 10 points, so that's -2. So I'm at a +0 right now. But the fatigue is 7 fatigue, so I'm -7.
But you're still, no, I don't know if you're still on the defend. If you changed them to a support.
The
then-
support 2 turns from now. They haven't
Oh,
converted
they
yet.
haven't done it yet. They're damn.
I know,
still
he
on the
hates
defend.
that. He, as much as he likes it, he hates it. But your artillery is at 6 inches away.
I don't know. I didn't calculate that to make a difference. Yeah, they're just there.
Close enough. All right,
They're
so
about 6 and a.
I guess that's
They're
-8.
about 5 3/4.
But my friendly deployed is not within 3 inches. So I'm -8, stoic is -7. So -7. So 9 minus 7 is a 2. So that's just 2 more fatigue. 2 more fatigue. So a total of 9 fatigue now. So that would be the end of the skirmishing.
Yep.
And now you have, well, let's play it out. So we did the assessment. It would be order conversions at the top of combat. Do you have an order conversion at the top of combat?
No, not converting yet.
Okay. Then it would be a combat resolution, and you had 1 battalion touching or 2?
2.
2 battalions touching. All right. My leadership was a B, and your ranking is...
Oh, your B's not. It's your combat rating. You're 2.
What to determine the?
Oh yeah, B to B's. There's.
Okay, so then it would be.
Doesn't really matter. There's only one fight.
Well, all right, protocol. Okay, well I rolled an 8. So either way, it's just if it's just one fight.
And yeah, your choice.
Nice.
Which way do you want to go?
I think I'll go.
Or that side?
I think I'll go from that side to that side. So okay, so it's my +2 to my 5 is a 7
Yeah.
to start. Oh, but then I got fatigue, right? So then I have 9 fatigue, and it's every 3. So I'm at a +4.
And multiple units.
So +3,
Probably going to be about the same.
because I think you got some fatigue now.
So I'm a 5 and a +1 tactical rating, so 6. -3 for fatigue. So I'm down to 3.
3 to 3. So just a straight die roll.
Just a straight roll.
All right. So he rolled a 7, and I rolled a 5. Well, I lost by 2. So it's just a retire.
It's a retire. And
Oh.
I stick.
Go ahead, pull him back. Okay, does that break all the?
Well, it's going to go whatever back here, close enough. 'Cause this is it.
Yep.
That breaks all combat contact.
So I did gain fatigue, just not from the right spot, and that puts me at 9, and I have 8 deploy. Oh, that's all you wanted. This is what.
Now's just the assessment. Well, everything's broken, so I'm gonna roll, and you're.
Yeah, I
gonna
guess
roll.
it's just an assessment. Yeah, and then I'll do the status check after the assessment.
Because we're broken combat.
Because I'll retreat unless I roll really bad and gain a whole lot more fatigue.
So I'm a B.
Okay.
No tactically outflank. No 3 combat losses. 9 fatigue marks. So I'm like -7 because I'm a +2. Then -9. I'm a minus. Well, no, not within 3 inches. I don't think. Well, nope.
Yeah, it's close enough to 3 inches.
Nope. I'd say he's outside.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
all right.
close, but no cigar.
Yeah, that's
so
what she
no
said.
No extra points there. So -7.
Okay. Ooh, -1.
That would be a -1.
Hey,
Not in the positive.
We
end.
broke the negatives.
He's going to get 4 fatigue,
Ouch.
and his batteries are already retired.
Ouch.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
Shoot.
That's pretty bad.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's see, because I'm pretty sure these guys are picking up too. Hopefully not as bad. Okay, well, I'm a B, so that's +2. I lost 1, but not enough to
Yep.
penalize. Nobody back, but the fatigue. I'm now at -9, so I'm at -7 on my roll. I don't have, but there is enemy battery within 6 of me. Is he within 6?
Yes, he was, because I think we took that into account on something
We may
else. Yep.
have. Okay, so then I'm at -8. Yeah, we did that last time, I think. So I'm -8, but I got stoic, so I'm -7. So I'm -7 again. Does that sound
Yeah,
about
probably.
right?
This stoic brings it up.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see if I get into the negatives. Well, it's a 10, -7, it's a 3, so that's 2 fatigue. 2 more, but still, that's almost, ooh. Okay, well, I'm at my 2, because 12 would be the really bad on, because I got 8. 12 would be the pick up and leave the table
So
completely.
now you're only at 11.
So we're only at 11, so this would be, for me,
That's a success.
it's a good success.
it's
It's
just
just
a
a retreat.
retreat.
It's just a retreat.
And
Yes!
I stopped, and I've got 16 deployed units and 13 fatigue. So I'm good.
Dang. But they're close.
And they're on their objective.
And they're on their objective. They're close. Yeah. But okay. So normally, if we played through, we would pick them up and whatnot. Now I could unretreat them at some point, and he had to get 3 of these units, 3 of my divisions retreated. Currently, that would put it 2, because one is the cavalry are gone. They're in retreat status. So if I had 1 more broken unit, he'd win. But I got 2 fresh units. I can bring them back.
Yeah, you'd have to rally and reform.
You gotta rally and reform, and there'll be a
you can do
small
other
unit,
things.
but they're delaying action.
Inspire.
But the good news for me is that unit is close to having to go through the same retreat, reform, and whatnot. I'd have to find a way to get more
You'd have to
fatigue
come out
on
and attack
them.
me.
I would. But at the same time, if you're just sitting there, that's just giving me more turns to have rolled my Napoleon pulling out anyway.
Yep.
So he would have to really decide how aggressive he wants to
That's
be.
exactly what I was going to do, is sit there now.
Just sit there, huh?
Well, because I have this other fresh
Coming
no
up.
fatigue unit that will be coming up.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We'll never know
So, I
because
don't know.
that's it.
Yeah, because Napoleon said, you guys are done.
He said you're out.
And if that didn't work, they would have converted to an attack and
Come and got him.
got a couple hits into them.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Well, how about that? Well, that's where the French decide to stop. They got to the first ridge. They looked over and saw a whole nother line of fresh Russian infantry, and
Yeah.
Napoleon said, "Yeah, no."
All right. So I'm wondering if
You
I
guys
can.
aren't ready for that fight.
Let's see if I can bring this in for like an overhead aerial. So like if we had, as I give people whiplash while I fix this camera here. So if we just kind of swung in, here they come. This is the epic movie moment, and the French come up over the hill, and then sure enough, look at that. They say, "Oh snap! There's those guys." And Napoleon says, with all the fatigue that they've got, he sees their losses and says, "Yeah, let's pull back for the moment." That does look pretty nice, though. That's a lot of folks there. All right, that's where we'll end it. I really don't have a whole lot of post-game thoughts on that because that die roll kind of put a nice little end to it for me. I think you still would have had quite a bit of fighting. I don't think it would have been quite an easy push.
I don't think so either.
It still would have been a rough fight, I think.
Napoleon might have called this one correctly at this point. This division would have to stop, and then they would sit there and try to recover fatigue.
Because it's a lot of fatigue.
Yeah, they're at 13, but they have
Yeah.
16 units deployed.
Right.
And so even to get their artillery, which, that artillery will come up behind here somewhere because that reformation area moves with the unit. They're pretty much done for the day. Turns will have to go by to recover that fatigue before they can start moving again.
Yeah.
The next unfatigued unit also has 16 battalions in it. And so the only thing that could possibly be done at this point is, can I come through here and get a flank? But that would take obviously several turns because the way I have it written, their objective is this reverse part of the slope as well. So they would get there, stop. Someone would then have to say, okay, taking personal command, change your objective, it's now next slope or whatever you want to call it, and then
Right.
you move forward. This is about the same size unit as that, so the fight may turn out to be about the same, may go sort of the same way, who knows, but now you've got a lot more artillery support, well, at least one gun that could do something. The other guy with the fatigue maybe not so much, but... And then the cavalry, the only thing is they're waiting for a target of opportunity. I had them also, their order was to move up on the reverse slope. And so at this point they're just waiting to convert if somebody, like if these guys didn't get a retreat order or something like that, then they were just waiting to come in, take a couple shots at them to see if they can get in. Get them out of the way.
I really didn't have a whole lot of strategy other than just fall back and form lines.
No, that was it.
It
That's all
seemed
you
to
had to
work,
do.
though. It seemed to work. Held off. They did hold off better than I thought, actually. They're still there.
They are still there, and they still have 2 full divisions of unfatigued, stoic Russian infantry.
Yeah.
And I think being stoic helped them hang into the fight. Oh, and Konovinitsyn with his +2 tactical rating.
Bob was amazing.
Not only did he outdo me by +1 there, but the Stoic was another +1. So I was going into those fights with a 2-point disadvantage.
It was good, yeah.
Numbers were the only thing that really helped me at that point.
Because neither one of our dice rolls were anything amazing. And the one time I rolled boxcars, you rolled like a 10. So you saved it pretty good. So we were close on just about all of it.
And getting stuck with Eugene in the fight, where they had gotten to the point where they had so much fatigue and I couldn't roll a leader action to get him out and have Marat come in because he had a tactical rating of +2. So if I could have got Marat into that and Eugene separated, I would have had only I guess it would have been a 1 difference at that point. Might have helped out a little bit here or there, but Marat's always itching for a fight. It's just something he wants to get into.
Now this was right before, well, maybe not right before, but this is before Borodino, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, way before Borodino.
Yeah,
we're coming up on Smolensk is off to the east here by a few miles.
So I watched this really, really cool docudrama on Napoleon, and they talked about this battle specifically, or maybe it wasn't that. Yeah, this battle, and then I also watched the full Napoleon, that history one where it tied Napoleon's marshals and
oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Those guys, yeah. So this was actually a pretty important fight too. And then I guess it's after Borodino and they take Moscow. After that, it's just all downhill for Napoleon after that. So
there's your RT.
There it is. Oh yeah, he made these cool little markers there. So we're getting to the point where in the campaign, a few big battles out, and then Napoleon will be on his retreat march anyway. So I think we're holding well.
Well,
holding well.
We'll have to say if you're going to try to save the holy city of Smolensk.
Yeah, you can take it. I know. They can take it. Take Smolensk.
No, the Russians gave it up anyways.
Yeah, they could have that. They could take Borodino. I'm counting on the winner. So we'll see how the winter goes. It's interesting. This is, again, a little bit of post-thought, nothing related to the game. As I start to learn a little bit more, I find it very interesting when they talk about, whatever you want to call it, the death march of Napoleon, and he loses his thousands and thousands of troops on his way back to, he was, I forget where he wanted to go, but he was cut off, so he had to backtrack and take the route back through Borodino, that he lost a whole lot of soldiers. And someone in one of them little documentaries I watched, they pointed out, but the Russians were hurt too. Not as bad because they were on their homeland, but they were also passing through the same scorched earth area. They also have to deal with the winter, and you could argue they're slightly better equipped for the winter because they know about Russian winters. The Cossacks, but it was like, but interesting because they were talking about how the French horses were just freezing to death and whatnot. What did the Cossacks do differently? Because apparently their horses didn't freeze to death. So I'm just imagining how much factors affected the Russians as equally as it affected the French, and how badly the Russians took the Russian winter as well. But they apparently still fought really well. So maybe it comes down more to the infantry, and maybe the Russian infantry was just equipped better for the winter. Because I'm sure horses are cold. Whether it's a Russian horse or a French horse, they're going to be affected by the cold.
Yeah, the issue is the French forces, their horses aren't getting any fodder. And they're dying off and people are eating them.
Oh, well, there's that.
And the Russians, on the other hand,
at
least they're free to forage a little bit and to get out there. And because the French were constrained with the Cossacks on their flanks, the regular army pushing them from behind, going down the same retreat path, and that if the French tried to get off the retreat path to forage, to look for something to eat, well, they're going to get picked up by the Cossacks.
Yep.
Well, the Cossacks, at least, they can get off to their flanks or to their rear, where some of the supplies are still coming in. So
I guess the horse eating was more of the issue than
It's a little bit of the issue.
Some of the
You know,
issue. Interesting.
You can't
Yeah.
move your baggage. You can't move your artillery. I mean, remember, not only are there horses for the cavalry, the horses are the engine that drives your supply. And if they're not getting supplied, well, your engine's not working to get
That
supply
makes
up.
sense. That's why I like to have these talks with you. I learn a lot. That's awesome. Well, that explains quite a bit. So yeah, if Napoleon had just started moving about 5 days earlier, they're saying, I guess when the first snow fell, he said, meh, we're good, and he stayed. But if he had started moving when the first snow fell, they're thinking he might have got out further than he did. I don't know.
If he,
Hindsight now.
If he knew that he had superior forces at, I think it's Malo-Yaroslavets. That's the battle that you were talking about, where Napoleon initially came out of Moscow on a route that was south
Yeah.
of the route he went in.
That's it.
And Kutuzov, whoever, was kind of persuaded. He didn't want to, but he was kind of persuaded that we'll kind of try to block his view, his march route here, and have a battle. And the battle was a hard-fought battle, and Napoleon, kind of his nerve failed him at that point. Said, "Oh, they're blocking my route. I'm going to move back off and get on the same route we took to advance." However, like you said, hindsight's 2020. He didn't know the state of what the Russian army was at that point. And I think the Russians were thinking at that time, it's like, well, if he decides to keep on coming, we can't stop him. But he didn't. He didn't know they were in such dire straits either.
Right. Very interesting.
And, maybe he would have lost less. He still lost big.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's the kind of talking and learning about the history behind the game that makes it feel more than just a game. It actually gives you some point of reference. So this is very cool. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. So one thing that we might do, I know Tom's got set up and he's looking at it, is we might do just a sneak peek. This is coming up though. The Coral Sea starter box. This is the first edition one. Avalanche Press just put out a second edition of the Coral Sea starter set to the system. I might pick that up. They're probably very similar compatible rules, but just so I'm kind of on par with the gaming that we're doing, I might get the second edition one.
I think all the game components would be exactly identical. The only difference would be the Series 2 versus the Series 1 rules.
Which I don't think would be that much.
I don't think there's that much difference.
Right.
It's just consolidating all the various optional rules that came out throughout the course of the series and codifying it into one series book. And then maybe some
So I might pick up Coral Sea just so I'm on par. I do have Bismarck. I never really sat down to learn it because that's a full game. But if this is the starter set, I might grab Coral for myself, learn the game with Tom, and then I got Bismarck, and he said he's already got some stuff. He's got Bismarck as well, the first one. So he's already got a lot of extra stuff. And if you don't know much about the rules, I'm not going to cover much here, but I do think they got really nice ship counters. So I am kind of anxious to play with some of them. I guess I've had people say they don't like the Avalanche Press Platoon Commander game series, but they like the ships though.
Yeah, Panzer Grenadier?
Yeah, Panzer Grenadier.
I do have one game in that series.
Yeah.
For the Guadalcanal in the jungle with the Japanese.
Right.
If I was inclined to do miniatures, it would translate fairly easily into a miniatures game, but I haven't even played with the counters out of the game, so
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard for me to judge. I have never played the game.
After we do, we'll play because this would be like a good filler in between campaign set for the next Napoleon something. We got lots of time to play lots of different games, but I think this might be. I'm guessing this is next because you got it set up. Could be next.
Could be next.
Could be next.
There's one more action before we get to Smolensk. It's another Russian rear guard action. Does not have as many battalions or squadrons as this one does, but the objective is almost the same. And then it requires some troops that I don't have readily available. The I believe the Württemberg cavalry and Württemberg artillery. So there's some allies that start showing up. The cavalry and artillery is downstairs on the paint table. So once they're done, then we would be good to go because I have everything else.
Cool. So you'll find out what we play next. All right, great. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to comment. And sadly, nobody has offered to come all the way down here to play a game and bring me root beer.
It's a long drive from anywhere.
It is. Well, that offer is still there. If you want to pay your own expenses and pay money to bring us root beer and beer, we're okay with that. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.